We'd like to get started. Is the microphone's on?
Yes.
Everyone can have a seat. We'd like to get started. Welcome everyone to the Little Falls Planning Board meeting of September 4th, 2025. Commissioner Barry, will you please lead us in the flag salute?
My God.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please read the statement of public notice.
The Little Falls Township Planning Board meeting of Thursday, September 4th, 2025 is called to order. Please take notice that adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with NJSA 10:4-8 and NJSA 10:4-10 as follows. The notice of the meeting was promptly posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building located at 225 Main Street, Little Falls, New Jersey, on January 9th, 2025. A copy of the notice was sent via email to the North Jersey Herald and News on the same date. Additionally, a copy of the notice was filed in the office of the township clerk. Please note that this meeting is being taped, therefore we ask that you speak loud and clear into the microphones.
Thank you very much. Please call the roll.
Mr. Barry,
Here.
Mr. Karaj,
Here.
Mr. Luke Damiano,
Here.
Ms. Cataldo, Mr. Seaver,
Here.
Mr. Poshis,
Here.
Mayor Damiano,
Here.
Councilman Scoba,
Here.
Dr. Abdi, Mr. Awade, Mr. Dolan,
Here.
Mr. Rema, Mr. Brigliadoro,
Here.
Mr. Koblars,
Here.
Mr. Barry,
Here.
Mr. Kilpatrick.
Here. We're going to begin this evening by having an award presentation.
Sure, I'll do the presentation from back here this evening. We have two members who have completed their basic course in land use, law, and planning. We actually have a third, but Dorothy unfortunately had a loss in the family. So we have two individuals that I want to present to their plaque in their successful completion of basic course in land use, law, and planning. And this evening, we want to present Bob Dolan and John Arima with their plaques for this completion.
Hey, one For anyone who was here tonight for the Martorana Enterprises LLC presentation, they will not be appearing. Mr. Brigliadoro, do you have any comments on that?
I do, Mr. Chairman. I received a telephone call from Mr. Fiorillo, the applicant's attorney. And he indicated to me that they were making changes to the plans and that would require them to request an adjournment so we could amend the plans and submit the amended plans to the board in a timely fashion. And Mr. Fiorillo indicated to me that they would notice and publish the appropriate meeting date. We discussed having them return on November 6th, 2025. That's the applicant's request to have this matter adjourned to November 6th, 2025, and we'll put the wrong notice.
And thank you. We don't have to take a vote on that, do we?
The board can just acknowledge that it's being carried.
Okay.
November 6th.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. You have to make somebody up who made the motion. Kevin Barry made the motion. All right, first, let's see, any comments from our council members?
Chairman, no one came before the governing body at our last council meeting with concerns for the planning board.
Thank you. May I have a motion for approval of the minutes, August 7th, 2025?
Motion.
May I have a second? Please poll the board.
Mr. Luke Demiano,
Yes.
Dr. Abdi, Mr. Rema, Mr. Kilpatrick.
Chairman votes yes, minutes are approved. We have no resolutions to memorialize. And get on to the night's business. First application is Zen Real Estate LLC, 75 Harrison Street.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Nice seeing the full contingent of the board, mayor, council president. So entering my appearance again on this application, John Vettery on behalf of Zen Real Estate, owner of the property at 75 Harrison. We appeared before the board, I think back in June, and then we carried at the last meeting just to allow some time to figure out this easement. So what have I been doing all summer? A lot of it having to do with this easement. So we've taken a look at the existing easements. These are historic easements. This property goes way back to the Sindel family where the Sindel mill was back in the 20s, had the fire, and then it started to get redeveloped into the 50s and the 60s. This property, I believe, in 1965. The easements which I sent to Mr. Brigliadoro, which are memorialized on the property. Mayor, you should know there's actually a drainage easement that goes through this property as well for the benefit of the township. That was created back in the 50s. I'm not sure whether that even exists, but as Rich will tell you, there's a lot there. However, the most resounding thing is it says very clearly in this document that it's non-exclusive, that it shall not be exclusive use for the property. It was always meant to be a collateral ingress and egress of the property. The property was built at 75 Harrison, having its own access. And, I wish I could tell some of the objectors and members of the public that we'd be able to grant their request and just make all of the ingress and egress to Sindel Avenue. However, recognizing that that will upset some individuals and residents that live on Van Ness and Sindel because they bear the brunt of industrial buildings in that area. None of us here were responsible for putting those buildings there, and we try to come up with the best solution for that. And I think what that will be is a measured look at splitting the ingress and egress. And I had an opportunity to go out to the site and meet with the owners of the business. So the business that operates there is not the building owner. The building owner purchased the building at a time during COVID when he was in the business of paper goods, used the building for a short period of time. Then it was vacant and the building was then rented to the company that is there today. A company called Merckay. They're a large logistical company, very professional. And I just want to give a little bit of an overview. We unfortunately, we had the president of the company, Mr. Haas, who was going to join us, had a loss in the family, was not able to be with us this evening, but I was able to interview him probably longer than he wanted to be interviewed in the middle of his day. But I think I got some good information to convey to the board so the board and the members of the public understand what's happening inside the building, what's necessitating the need for the addition, and what can we do to try to make the best situation with respect to ingress and egress that's fair and equitable to all of the surrounding property owners, but also for building owners that have a significant investment in this building. So A, they want to be a good neighbor. That's first and foremost. Secondly, they are not Amazon. They don't do anything in the retail trade. There's no pick and pack. They're not taking a bottle of mascara and bringing it up to the Caldwells and dropping it here. This is not what we have on McBride Avenue with our neighbors. This is not an Amazon facility. This is large contract storage of goods, that mostly come from overseas, come here, all non-hazardous, dry goods. And then the typical turnaround is that they would stay there for a number of weeks. So this is not in and out at all. The activity, I asked what's on the low end, what's on the high end. Generally, with the activity that they have now on the low end, it's 8 trucks per day, could be as high as double that on a day. They don't necessarily know. Could be 2 customers that have a contract in that warehouse to store goods, and it gives them the ability to have multiple parties coming. In general, the typical hours of operation are 9 to 6. That can vary if they have a customer that has something at the port that needs to be stored and can't stay in a container. Additionally, what are the types of trucks that come in and out of there? And the neighbors can verify this. It's a range. It's a range from as small as vans up to 24-foot trucks, 48-foot trailers, up to tractor trailers that come in there carrying containers. So the addition would necessitate some better access in the building and some loading zones there. If you recall, I think I gave a little bit of an overview from the last time. In 2005, when the prior owner owned this building, they got approval for a 16,000 square foot addition. It was essentially an L, ran around the back of the DPW and then on the side by the backyards of, I guess that would be Harrison Street on that side. Then in 2024, there was an application to raise the height of the building to 40 feet. That building, that was a D6 variance that got denied by this board. And then the applicant, along with the tenant, took a look at what to do and came up with the addition that's before you. You may notice on the updated plans, the plans show initially that the addition was 15,198. The new addition is 17,092, but what you're not seeing and what the architect and the engineer will explain is, yes, it's a 17,000 square foot addition, but we're also removing 2,000 square feet to help with the access. And we're going to talk about that in a moment when we bring the professionals up. We're essentially going to remove that canopy and we're suggesting to remove a portion of the building to allow better access from Sindel. Currently, if you go down Sindel, it's only 30 feet and we'll show it on the map. To turn around that area, provided there's not a truck blocking it from the neighbor, it's very hard to get around, even if there are no vehicles there. So the applicant's willing to take a portion of the building down to make the access better, to give the opportunity for trucks to get in and out. And when I questioned Mr. Haas about the operation, he said he's even gone so far as to put on all of his emails, he created an address saying use 46 Sindel Avenue. 46 Sindel Avenue doesn't exist, but I guess it took your GPS or your navigation to an address that would take you to Sindel. From a practical standpoint, truckers don't look at their emails, I suppose, and they're just saying this company, Merkay, is located at 75 Harrison, and when the gate was closed, they would idle on 75 Harrison trying to figure out, how do I now get around to Sindel Ave? There's no direct access. You're turning your truck around that neighborhood, going back out to Patterson Ave, going to Sindel, and then going back in. And that's not optimal for anyone. So I think that, you know, the message that we're conveying is that, you know, we'd like to have a balanced use of both access. We're working with our neighbor, even though we were not able to negotiate with them to try to get 100% access from Sindel, but we are working with them to try to have a balanced approach so that they don't block the easement, so that they make sure that it's kept clear, so that there's an opportunity for it to be used. So that's a little bit of an overview. I mean, in terms of the actual zoning, and I wanted to put some of this on in terms of the operation. From a zoning perspective, there's really very little we're doing tonight. We're asking for a preliminary and final site plan approval. We have one pre-existing nonconformity, which arises out of the township's section 28099, which asks for there to be a 40-foot buffer between the residential neighborhood and any parking. Ever since this building was built, there's been about 10 feet, maybe it's 12 feet between the athletic field, which although not residentially used, is residentially zoned, so it applied. It's a pre-existing nonconformity. It's not a new variance. It's not a new situation. And I guess the question can come up, why not expand that another 30 feet? By doing that, we would make things even worse for access, because now there's really no room. If we put 30 feet of grass in between the field and this parking lot where they're parking the trucks, there would be very little, if no, access for these trucks to maneuver, and our engineer will talk about that. So tonight we have the architect who's going to give testimony about, you know, the positives tonight. So the building it was only purchased maybe about 5 or 6 years ago by the particular owner, and it needs facade improvements, and he's willing to do that. And you'll see that on the plans with some nice neutral colors and putting some nice new corrugated metal on the building, taking out some of the old paneling, taking out the old dock area. And then in addition to that is proposing, it's like 100 trees and new fencing, all new paving. For whatever reason, this site never had an enclosed garbage dumpster. We have 4-unit buildings that have nicer dumpster enclosures in this building. So that will get corrected as well, in addition to the proposal that we have for the better circulation. So that's an overview of the application. And Mr. Chairman, if you will, I would like to call up our first witness, Mr. Nassar Al-Mukhtar, who is the architect on this.
Please do.
Good evening.
Please raise your right hand. You swear from the testimony that you're about to give before this board is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Please tell us your name and spell your last name for the record.
Sure. It's Nasser Al-Mukhtar, Almukhtar.
We get the board of that.
Sure.
Professional.
So I'm a principal at Heritage Madison Architecture located at 1171 Madison Ave in Patterson, New Jersey. I have a current license in the field of architecture in good standing. I have testified in front of numerous boards, including this one, and been accepted in all of them as an expert witness in the field of architecture.
Credentials are accepted.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, give an overview of the proposed addition and the,
Yeah, there are.
do we have a fan note?
Right. Bring the. Sure. Go ahead. Yeah. So again, the warehouse is located at 75 Harrison Street. This is an existing one-story structure. The total area of the existing warehouse is 52,164 square feet. As mentioned by Mr. Vittery, we are proposing to demolish 3,700 and change square feet of this warehouse, and the addition would be 17,092 square feet. So the total would be 35,000 square feet and change. The areas that we're proposing to demolish, if you look at the picture, this is an aerial view of the site. There's a square here, and we have little jots here on this side and on this side. So we're proposing to demolish those little jots here and here. And this will make it easier for the traffic. The site engineer will explain further in terms of parking of the tractor trailers here. And then we're proposing to add, there's an existing overhead door here. We're proposing to demolish that and provide 2 overhead doors for more tractor trailers there. If we turn on the next page, this indicates the floor plan of the existing condition as well as the addition. Those dashed lines here and here are the demolition. There's also 2 offices here. We're proposing to demolish it. This is all interior demolition, but those are the areas that are going to be eliminated from the exterior, basically. On this side, we have 3 overhead doors existing. They are to remain. Here on this side, there's 1 overhead door. So this portion is going to be demolished, and we're proposing 2 overhead doors on this side, and then 1 overhead door on this side for smaller deliveries. This post shade portion, the L shape, is the proposed 1-story addition. This portion from here to here will match the existing, the height of the existing structure, which is a little bit over 22 feet. But this portion we're proposing to make it 30 feet is going to be a little bit higher than the existing structure.
That conforms to the ISO.
Correct. Yes. So in terms of height, we are confirming with the regulations, basically. In terms of the other, the existing, no changes proposed other than those interior 2 offices that are going to be demolished. This is the office space for the warehouse. It's existing to remain. No changes are proposed for that. And then the last page indicates the facades of the proposed structure. The top one is the facade of the proposed addition. The lower portion would be cinder block, basically CMU wall. the building as it stands now is CMU wall, it's painted. So this will match it, and then the top portion is corrugated metal sheet. The total height would be 30 feet for this one from the average grade. And we're proposing about 12 feet, 4 inches of center block, and then the 17 feet will be for the corrugated metal sheet. Those will also be neutral color to match, probably light gray or white. And then the second facade, this is the side facade, the portion that is not rendered or not post-shade is the existing. This is painted CMU wall, and it has windows here. And then this portion is the proposed addition, the 30-foot high. It's a little bit higher than the existing warehouse. We're also providing smart floodgates as required by the DEP. There's a lower portion below the floor, more floodgates, and then just above the floor, there will be also some flood vent blocks. And those are required, by code, definitely. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. All of this one, yeah, the northeast elevation. Yeah, sorry. And then on the other side, this is the existing, the left side is the existing portion of the warehouse. And then this portion up to here matches the height. And then the rear portion, the rest of the L shape, if you will, is the higher portion of the warehouse. This is one of the overhead doors that are proposed. And then here, these are the two overhead doors. Basically, this higher portion is behind the building, but we have to show it, obviously. And then we are proposing also some roof-mounted lights to project light into the parking lot. And Mr. Walker, the site engineer, will explain further into that. These are the 3 existing overhead doors, and these are the 2 proposed overhead doors. There is an existing sign that has been removed, and now, we're proposing to bring back the sign. Same dimensions, matching the existing sign that was there.
And the sign is conforming.
The sign is confirmed, yeah. It's 22'6" by 3 foot high, light box. In terms of rooftop units, there's no addition to the rooftop units proposed. If you look at the first page on this aerial picture, there are 3 rooftop units. There's no proposal to add any more rooftop units, so there's no changes to that. So that
Where did
concludes
dumpster
the testimony.
Where is the dumpster going?
We do have a new place for the dumpster, and the engineer is going to speak.
Okay.
I have no further questions of the architect.
Any questions of the board for the architect? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, our next witness is Mark Walker, who's going to testify in the area of civil engineering.
Good evening, everybody. Walker, please raise your right hand. You swear from the testimony that you're about to give before this board is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Please tell us your name and spell your last name.
Mark G. Walker, Walker, business address is 21 Bowling Green Parkway, Lake Pacon. I've testified in front of this board. I'd be glad to give my credentials again. I hold a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Northeastern University and a master's degree in environmental engineering from NJIT. And I've been a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey for 33 years. And I'm a principal at the Dykstra Walker Design.
Licenses are current.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Accepted.
So I do have one exhibit tonight, and I guess this is A1. A1. Keep one.
Mark, take board. Mr. Walker, exhibit A1 with the proposed layout exhibit. It was prepared by your office.
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
So exhibit A1 is a colored rendering of the site plan that you have before you tonight, superimposed on an aerial exhibit. And it's a nice exhibit because it shows the entire surrounding area and access points to the site. So with that said, let me just get into my testimony. So we're talking about 75 Harrison Street, block 218, lot 8. It's a 3-acre lot with an existing building that's 38,781 square feet, parking and loading, has frontage and access from Harrison Street. Also has the secondary access that our attorney had discussed that comes from Sindel Avenue, which crosses over block 218, lot 8.02. And you can see in the exhibit, if you're looking at the exhibit to the left, there's some white lines and a notation that says access easement. There's no wetlands on the site. We do have a flood hazard elevation. We're within the flood hazard area. The flood hazard elevation is 142.75. And the existing building is actually 1.25 feet lower than that new higher flood elevation. We're at 141.5. There's residential homes to the north, which are on the Harrison Ave side of our property. We have a Dubay sports field to the west and commercial properties to the south and to the east. So what we're proposing is actually an addition to the existing building. And as you can see, the proposed addition is in the non-active side of the site. So it's on the easterly and southerly ends of the site, whereas today, the more active areas of the site are the paved areas on the west and northerly sides of the site. But we are making some improvements on that side of the site to help with our neighborhood. But the actual improvements that we're doing are on the opposite end of where the historic pavement essentially was located. So the addition is 17,092 square feet. And that's being added on to the existing building of 38,781 square feet. However, there are two sections of the building that are being modified and reduced in size that our architect discussed. Loading area is being reduced by 1,073 square feet, which is on the westerly side of the building within that paved area. And on the south side of the building, you just point at exhibit A2 or A1. We have another area that's being removed on that side of the building. So with the addition and the removal, that brings us to a building size of 52,164 square feet. So when all said and done, the building will be 52,164, which is about 5 square feet less than what was proposed a few months ago. So essentially the same. The existing building height is 22 feet, which will remain. We're not adding to the height of that building. The proposed addition, which again is way in the back of the existing building, so that brown area that's shown on exhibit A1 will be 30 feet, which is conforming. In the addition will actually be 89.4 feet from the residential zone properties on the northerly side. And that's significant because the building setback is only 25 feet. So we're maintaining the building line along the residential side to maintain that large setback. The addition, as we have it proposed, will conform to all setbacks and building coverage. On that southerly side of the existing building, There was a section of the building that was 8.2 feet from the property line where 10 feet is required. And under this latest revision, we removed that little section to make sure that the building conforms along that setback. There will be some loading on the site, similar to what we have today, but just cleaned up a little bit. There'll be 5 loading spaces. We'll have 3 in the large gray area to the west, and on the smaller gray area to the south, we have 2 other loading spaces proposed, so 5 total. There are 24 parking spaces required for the site, and 24 parking spaces are proposed, including 1 EV space and 1 ADA space. We're also providing an ADA ramp to ensure accessibility into the building, so it will meet the ADA code. We have some pavement that's to be removed that's adjacent to the ball field. And one of the primary reasons of doing that is to add some greenery adjacent to our residential areas, and also make sure that we conform with the minor stormwater requirements. So that keeps our project as a minor stormwater requirement. So we do have, with this addition, we do have a 10,789 square foot increase in coverage, which again is the orange that's shown on Exhibit A1. And to mitigate the increase in runoff, we'll be actually be capturing 15,198 square feet, or 50% more that we're increasing it by, and infiltrating that roof area into a series of dry wells on that side of the building. The project requires a DEP individual flood hazard area permit. We've made the application to the state. We've been deemed complete, and the application is currently under review by the DEP. And in order to ensure that we have the same flood storage on our property after the project is built, we have proposed to remove soil underneath the addition, and we provided a crawl space underneath the building with flood vents, so the water can ebb and flow underneath that addition, which is a common practice for any addition within a floodplain. So there is a variance required. We've noticed it as a variance. We're not 100% sure if it's a variance. We've taken a conservative route. There's along the ball field, there's the existing pavement area, and the existing pavement actually runs 255 feet along the ball field. Which I'm going to add to the A1. Existing pavement runs from here all the way to here, and then there's also a concrete pad just adjacent to the parking area. And as you can see, we've turned those areas into a green hatched area. So we will be removing those areas which are close to the residents to the north and adjacent to the ball field. So making it a little bit greener within that area. The ordinance states that we need to have a buffer from residential use. The ball field is not a residential use. So the ordinance is really silent about the use, but we're just kind of taking the stance that it's a residential zone, that we should try to comply with that buffer as best as we can. So the pavement is existing within that particular area. So by removing the pavement and the concrete pad, we'll actually be reducing the linear feet of pavement along the ball field from 255 feet down to 150 linear feet of pavement along that area. That's actually non-compliant. With respect to the northeastern property line, which is the actual residential use heading out by Harrison Street, we will be adding arborvitae will be added to the plan along Harrison Street. And we'll also be adding the arborvitae's along the ball field. The arborvitae's, as you can see in Exhibit A1, extend across the entire common property line of the ball field and across the northern residential property line as well. So we've added in a lot of buffer in there. We will also be adding in a fence new fence from the entranceway from the Harrison Street up to the ball field. So there'll be a new fence that'll match the fence along the fence that the ball field put in recently, which is a metal graded fence with a fabric screen on it. I also spoke with the board engineer earlier that we will also be adding a screen onto the gate that goes into Harrison Street. So that'll help provide some screening while looking in towards the site. And also there's some fence opposite side of our entry drive that needs some repair and modification, which we'll also do as well. So when we're done, the northern side adjacent to Harrison Street where the residents are located and definitely need to comply with the residential buffer requirements by removing that pavement and that concrete will create actually a green 60-foot distance where we're required to create I believe it's 35 feet and you can park within 15 feet of it. And we'll also add some arborvitae. So along that whole residential section, we will be complying with the buffer requirement. And we've done, I think, the best that we can along the ball field side by adding in the arborvitae and eliminating as much pavement as we could and still complying with the parking requirements. Also, as part of a recent or a previous report, there was a request to come up with a lighting plan for the entire site, which was done, and that's been added onto the plans. And with respect to the dumpster, we have added a dumpster in.
Yeah, show the chairman the other members of the board public where the dumpster. So the dumpster is on the south side of the building, on the opposite side of the building from the residence. And then there was also a request by the board engineer to make that a masonry block dumpster, which we have no issue doing and complying with his request. So I believe that's just a light. The light, yes. I did talk.
Yeah, but it speaks to the, right, any, lighting the front and building itself.
Right, all of the lighting is going to be on the building. We will have. We'll have 4 light fixtures that will be placed on the building, and 2 in the rear of the building. They're all downwardly lit light fixtures, LED light fixtures. So there's no lights that are shining out, everything's lit straight down. And then we'll also have 2 other fixtures on the southerly side.
And each door is required by code will have lighting as
And the
well.
light will be added, I believe that's shown on our fiscal plans. Yeah.
Okay.
At the door opens. We need a light fixture in each.
You get added. Yeah, I believe that was in, Super Bowl. But I'm just looking to let you have the opportunity to review, Mr. Butler's comments. I believe you addressed them all.
Do
I
we
had
discuss,
certain-
paving and striping?
Yeah, well, he's asking about, paving and sort of the current, walked the site recently, the condition of the paving is very poor, and the applicant intends to completely repave and restrip.
So we're cleaning up the site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then if you look at it today, if you walk this, I think this was the original dumpster,
Here's a few concrete pad here and remnants of old fencing. So the site is in poor condition, so we're not able to see it. It does need to be this area, the thought that the dumpster back here, was behind it, and we will get rid of this. 47 symbol and 7. Not intent to put there. We're all likely in size.
That's correct.
It's
There was one other comment in the report, number 8, about removing the wood pallets and other materials. So those will all be removed. They're actually in the location of the proposed addition. So the site will be cleaned up as a result of this application.
Commissioner, no further questions.
I'd like to ask our engineer, Mr. Barry, if he has any comments.
Start with me?
Oh, I got confused. Mr. Kobelar?
Yeah.
There's a number of wooden pallets that I noticed throughout the rear of the site and on the side. What's gonna happen with those? And a lot of equipment as well back there. Where's that material gonna be?
So
How's that gonna be?
yeah, so the equipment, any equipment that doesn't pertain to the business, I think there were a couple of pieces will be removed. And the pallets, I believe are currently, Mr. Walker said, are right in this area of the pallet. So I believe the intention is to take the stack portion of them on the inside. Right now, they don't need them, I think they're stacked.
But as far as the lighting goes, will they be on a timer? What's the intent as far as?
We're gonna have someone talk about operations on this or that.
Unfortunately, like I said, the operator was not able to be here this evening, but that's very easy to have them on the time. It's a reasonable request.
Up to what time?
Whatever you do, whatever you think makes sense.
How late do the ball fields usually operate till, you know? And maybe we can coordinate with them,
Roughly 10 PM.
10 PM. I think 10 PM is more than reasonable.
The location of the dumpster. That looks close to the loading, one of the proposed loading areas, so there's sufficient room for a truck to maneuver and back into that.
Yeah, the owner wanted to put the dumpster in there, so they don't always get tractor trailers in through there, so they may get a smaller truck, and that may be a designated loading area for a smaller truck to pull in and out.
Are we satisfied with that answer?
Yes, I think if it's an operational issue, dumpster, they're gonna be limited to the size of the truck that's gonna be able to access it. Either that or maybe ship that dumpster a little to the west if you need additional space.
Thank you.
Yeah, we would be able to move it, over here, or we were trying to take it away from the field.
I'm sorry, take it away from what?
To take it away from the field.
Oh, well, we want it away from the.
Yeah.
Very well, we'll make it work. Any questions of the board for
Mr.
the
Chairman,
engineer?
Yes. In the area where you're putting new curbing stuff, will that be curb? Because currently, right now, the way that the property is, there's no interior curb.
Right, yeah, there's no curbing proposed through that area. It's actually existing pavement that we're making smaller. So we're not adding pavement, we're removing pavement.
Right, I got you. But there's gonna be no curbing around that gravel area?
That's correct.
Commissioner, the applicant's willing to put curbing in. I did notice that it kind of dips and just kind of drops off and it does look sloppy. As a condition of approval of this application, he would be willing to put in.
Thank you, Jim. One more question. The fencing that we were discussing, can you explain the materials for the fencing around the entire perimeter?
Actually, I have a picture of the fencing on the ball field.
I believe it was a map of what the town.
And that's gonna go around the entire perimeter?
But yeah, I'm certainly going on the Harrison Ave side. I don't believe there is fencing in between 47th Spindle and this.
So let's enter this in as A2.
Take credit for the township's good work with this fencing. Okay, A2. A copy of the township's fencing plan that we will replicate.
So it's not,
Unless the board sees fit another time.
so there is already an existing fence along the residential properties. 6 foot high, solid PVC fencing, which is white. This fence is actually black.
You're speaking about this area.
That's correct.
This whole, so there's new PVC fencing here.
Correct, yeah. There's already, a lot of the places have put in their own fencing. And there's,
I think that's chain link fence.
That was a mess. Has that been cleaned up? Are you gonna clean that up?
This property does not belong to the applicant, but we can certainly, match the fencing that's here. If they have new white, PVC fencing, we can match the fencing here, and then we continue the look of the township here on the south.
Maybe if it's. My own personal suggestion would be if we're bordering up against the houses, maybe keep it as residential as possible. And do that white PVC down the length behind the homes here. Yeah, and up in that corner.
And here.
Yeah, he's probably most, that property would be the most impactful.
so some people may not want the soft, so we'll.
I'm one of those people too.
We'll,
so-
we'll talk to the people and ask them what kind of fence they want.
Mhm.
That's what we'll put in.
You want to give us a little latitude to work that out with the engineers, with the neighbors.
Latitude is given. Any other questions for the engineer?
I yield to Mr. Barry.
No, good.
No, it's fine.
Mr. Barry, go ahead.
Is does the addition have sprinklers included
Yeah.
in the existing and in the addition? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Di Maria, is your office getting any complaints about this property now?
Really squared in. Raise my hand, swear from the testimony about the, for the sport, it's gonna be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Good truth.
James DiMaria, construction and zoning official for the Township of Little Falls. My office has received complaints in the past regarding truck parking in this area, which disturbs the neighboring properties. I do believe that green area may assist to prevent the storage of tractors over there. And definitely the curbing would be a major improvement for in the future, those trailers aren't just parked on that grass. So the more you can possibly get the tractors or put stipulations of overnight storage in that area would probably, be a better fit for the residential aspect of the community. But those are the complaints we get. And sometimes it is very difficult for them to maintain the grassy area along Willow Ave. Because it gets very wet and it gets difficult for them to get machines in there. And I'd also be cognizant, that is in a special flood hazard area, and the more solid fence you put there might kind of create a bathtub effect if we do experience some type of flooding event.
They had any effect?
That's a good point.
Have they had any effect on the ball field?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the fence along the ball field is constructed of, had any effect on flooding in the ball field?
The ball field is located outside the special flood hazard area. and the water kind of comes, you know, in that area on the back part of the side, you know, into Willow, so.
Understood.
It could, you know, impact that area. That's all.
Any other questions?
This is A2. That was the fence. That is the fence on the.
Anybody want to say anything?
Should be very,
Oh, wait a minute, we're not done. Sorry. Mr. Barry?
Yes, Mr. Di Maria and I had a quick sidebar. I was gonna raise the fence issue, but he had the opportunity to do so. The other thing, just as a technical matter, the ordinance requirement is not to residential use. It is to the zone boundary between an industrial and residential use for the buffer distance. So technically speaking, that applies here. The modifications taking place in the area by the ball field, but there is a reduction in the pavement proposed, an increase in the green. So just wanted to make sure we were clear that that does apply, even though it's not a residential use per se.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, but I just want to go back. So the recommendation is not to put a PVC white fence along that grassy area going back because that could cause issues with water, Mr. Di Maria?
That's correct.
All right, so we will grant you the latitude and the flexibility to do what works.
I think we had this with, Bale's other application of 32 Silver Road, we put in actually, we were predicting putting up.
Let's stick to this application.
Yeah, that was a flood.
Thank you.
This is not.
Yeah, sure, but the other suggestion, yeah, to prohibit, any trucks from parking is, you can plant trees. Plant trees in this area, willow trees or something. Good idea. Absorb a little bit of water, create a little bit of shading, and no one can be parking over the trees. For instance, it has trees there, however many trees, trees.
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that this, the tree plan gets brought over to the Shade Tree Committee so they could have input.
Very good. The Shade Tree Committee, which has been reinstated, will review and make recommendation. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have no further witnesses on this application. I'd just like to reserve for a short summary once this is opened up to the public afterwards.
Okay, no problem. I have a few questions I'd like to address. You basically kind of pointed that the Sendo Avenue entrance will work again. And I don't think we can plan on that going forward. It may not, but it should not be a supposition that will be allowed.
This applicant has the legal right to use that. But however, they don't have the legal right to use it exclusively. It says it's non-exclusive. It was intended to be collateral use. That the main entrance is 75 Harrison, but we propose these enhancements to try to make it more accessible. And we're trying to work with our neighbors so that they don't block the easement area. Sometimes they have deliveries that block the easement area. And that's why I said at the beginning of my comments, we'd like to make this as fair and balanced for all the residents, both Sindel Avenue, Van Ness, and also Harrison in the Jackson Park neighborhood, that we're not relegating this to just one ingress and egress, that there's going to be a balance.
I have some questions. I have some concerns. Diesel fumes are toxic. Do you have any plans for queuing? A place to do so? One of the complaints in previous applications was on Sindel. They would get there early in the morning. It would keep the diesels running. Those diesel fumes are toxic.
So that's a great question. Wasn't discussed, not in this owner. There is an area right here, the parking area that's in common ownership, and the board will put signage up to the extent. Sometimes there's just an opportunity where they're not ready, they need a place to go.
But this is pulling into the easement area.
So this would.
This would be right below, this would be right by DeRoche's house.
75 hours.
I can't figure out where this would be.
There's a plot.
Block 218, lot 8. Actually on the
The
same
hell's
side
this?
as September. It's a perfect viewing area, because it's in between the two buildings. It's quite far away from Jackson Parkway, but far away from Sandals, because that, in anticipation of that.
What's the lot number?
Rise, that would be.
Is that the
So
same
that would
lot
work.
that's used to, there's a number of vehicles that are parked in that.
Years ago, Schumacher used to, I think the old owner rented, the Schumacher, they parked, Chevrolets there, it's not anymore.
No, this,
There are employees that park there, and it's, I was there earlier today, far too old, than seeing it.
And it can accommodate 45-foot tractor?
Yeah.
Okay, hours.
So the general hours of operation of this business, at 9 to 6. That's when the employees are there. Sometimes they have a special shipment that's coming in and it necessitates being there earlier or later than that time. Those are their general.
how many days?
Well, can we, what? I'm sorry, somebody,
How many days a week?
how many days a week?
That I believe it's 7 days a week. I'm not sure about.
Well, so the hours of operation are 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. There is an exceptional Saturday, but not on Sunday.
Then why do we accept deliveries before 9? I would rather not have any deliveries before 9.
Yeah, it's something that
The hours are 9 to 6.
that the owner of the building is not the operator of the building, so they don't have control over that. They do, they have to comply with whatever regulations are on the books of the township with respect to idling, and those are their general hours.
We have found the state has rules, town has rules, and idling. They're very hard to enforce. They can turn them off and turn them right back on.
Mhm.
So that concept is out the window.
Yeah,
We're trying to protect the neighbors from toxic fumes.
yep. No, understood. There should be no,
And I would think most people coming out of Harrison or Jackson are leaving before 9, most. If we can avoid them having to run into 45-foot tractors, that would be a good thing. I'd like you to look into, with the owner, you can certainly speak with whoever is managing it, operating it, to see
Yeah.
if that could be accomplished.
you could
I'm
give me-
close to making it a condition,
All right, let me
unless
give
you
you
guys
one
can
more.
work something out.
Thank you.
Pardon the delay, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
So although they don't operate the business, they're familiar with the business and, without having to go back now, they would be willing to accept 8 to 8. So 8 AM to 8 PM and
What
then,
happens at 6 PM?
yeah, they said sometimes there are deliveries that come after that.
We are asking them to have those deliveries that come after 6 come the following day. We're asking that those that come before 9 come previously or later in the. I'm really sticking to the 9 to 6. I don't want it 8 o'clock, the kids are out running around.
Yeah, we'd love to accommodate. I just think we may have to speak to the the operator has a lease. The operator entered into a lease. I don't know if that lease has hourly restrictions, and that could be a violation of the lease agreement. So I think I'm going to speak to my client, who's the building owner. We may have to,
Can the lease be amended?
we may have to potentially, but there are a lot of ifs, and I think there are too many ifs, for them to agree to it right now. So my recommendation is that we make it, we covered some ground. We made some progress with the neighbor with regard to the easement. We may have to carry to the next meeting and see if we can make some progress with the tenant with regard to 9 to 6.
Very well, but I would like to open the meeting. Any other questions of Mr. Vettery at this time?
Okay, hold on. This just in, everyone. He's saying that, yes, they will agree to 9 to 6. All right, guys, it means you have to live by that. All right, 9 to 6, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions of the board, may I have a motion to open up the meeting to the public?
So moved.
May I have a second? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to address the board, the professionals that made presentations tonight, please come forward.
Good evening, everyone.
Please raise your right hand. You swear testimony about the before this board is going to be the truth.
My name is Michael Cayley. Yes, I do.
Please tell us your name, spell your last name, and
My name is Michael. Last name is Cayola. C as in Charlie, Aiola. I apologize. I'm not a consummate professional. I'm just an average Joe. I live on 5 Willow Ave, and I'm very interested in this particular expansion because it very, very greatly affects our community. I'd first like to submit into evidence exhibits A and B. Show this. We have nothing against Zen Real Estate. I applaud anybody who grows. This is America after all. That's what we're all about. However, this property has a continued history of abuse to the public. And so that misuse of variance, every little inch is taken by a mile. I poured over notes from the 50s to the 60s to the 90s to 2000 over a course of days in my free time. In my findings, I've seen that there have been tons of violations, whether it be for pallets stacked to the sky, garbage everywhere, smells. I personally have woken up several times because my carbon monoxide detector is going off because of the diesel fumes, somebody idling at 2 o'clock in the morning because they can't get to the gate. Before you, one of you has a list of names, petition in front of you.
let me just, I should address that. You submitted a petition that was received by the office. It was placed in the file.
Yes.
Under the municipal land use law, the board is not read it. The board is not permitted to. Anybody who signed that petition is able to come to the meeting. But we just can't, it was filed with the petition.
Sure.
Ms. Bella was here.
Can I address it? Well, let's do that. Talk about
I
it.
want to talk about whatever concerns you have, you can talk about.
True. That is true. So this is something that I personally walked around with. And the stories that I heard from my neighbors and friends, everybody had something to say. I went around for a full day. We collected over almost 100 names here of everybody who was impacted by these trucks. Every expansion that's happened has happened under the guise that this would be a light use property. 1, maybe 2 trucks a month. We see dozens a day. Tractor trailers mostly. There's very, very few small trucks. It's mostly 50-foot trucks. They wake the neighbors up at 1, 2, 3 in the morning to move the cars that aren't even theirs, insistent that they get out of their way. They run over our lawns, they hit our cars. And who are we supposed to report this to? We report it to the police, but we have nobody to report. There's an unknown tractor trailer that just hit my car. Zen Real Estate's not responsible. It's not their tractor trailer. So this small spot ruled for light industrial has now been turned into a logistics center.
And it is comparable to Amazon. I would actually argue that they get more traffic than Amazon. It's certainly less scheduled. It's more chaotic. The drivers don't belong to anybody and they don't report to anybody. There's no responsibility here. And so while council has argued that they're seeking a variance that is already in place, most of what's been put into place are small concessions for the parking lot area. Now they're seeking to completely obliterate the ordinance with 28099, and that would allow them to fully encroach on any land and property they see fit. Now, that may not be Zen Real Estate's intention. However, as we've seen, these variances do not go away once granted, and if this is fully granted, it might be Zen Real Estate, it might be the next owner. Somebody's going to move into the backyard of my neighbors. This will effectively affect the Peckman project, which was mostly granted because the site plan for that is in this dead zone. However, 28099 would allow them to move within 40 feet of that property, which they could then argue is on their property, which would no longer be a dead zone. The implications of them getting this expansion are far more reaching than planting a couple of nice trees and replacing a fence. Currently, the existing property expansion does flood, and it's going to flood even further, dry well or no. It's just not graded properly, and there's no plan for that to be done. Replacing an existing fence, planting some trees, very, very nice concessions. But the long and the short of it is increased traffic through these neighborhoods is detrimental to everybody. And I don't have to tell you, you're all mostly family people, I assume. If you lost a child, there are kids that won't play outside anymore in the neighborhood because they can't dodge the trucks. They're getting yelled at by the drivers. It's not a good scene. And to increase that amount of traffic into our community so that they can make a couple extra dollars for their tenant. Sorry, I'm all about the American dream, but I have one too. In 1963, this, well, a different board, but people sitting in your chairs, granted conditions of an expansion plan that said that they needed to create their own easement, their ingress and egress on Van Ness, that they were not allowed to use Findale and Harris, and that it was to be permanently locked. NJ Case Law Field Pravano says that conditions with the land are binding and their successors was formally vacated are enforceable. There's no record of that condition being vacated. It simply hasn't been applied. And so by that, I would very much like to see an ingress and egress formally introduced to these properties to get these trucks out of our neighborhood. Again, I'm all about expansion, but it should be done right. I have submitted, exhibits A and B, formally requesting a reevaluation of the L-shaped roadway from 1963 that was brought up by this board. Relevant New Jersey cases which would apply to this particular situation would be Field versus Franklin Township Zoning Board, 190 New Jersey. Super 326 App Division 1983. Conditions run with the land and bind successors. Non-enforcement does not void condition. Bravino versus Livingston Building of Adjustments 174 New Jersey. Super 547 App Division 1980. Conditions once imposed remain enforceable against future ownership unless formally vacated. Medici versus BPR Company 107 New Jersey 1987. Variances may not be granted if it causes substantial detriment to the public good. I hope once you get your hands on this, you see that this is indeed a detriment to the public. And there's not a single person that I spoke to that agrees with it otherwise. Burbridge versus Mine Hill Township, 117 New Jersey, 376, 1990. Stacked variances and lax enforcement cannot result in unlawful de facto rezoning. Cox and Koenig, New Jersey Zoning and Land Use Administration board minutes reflecting conditions are binding, even absent of separate resolution, which would bind that 1963 minutes. So, in the summary, 1963 minutes established a clear restriction barring truck access from Harrison Street and Sindel Ave Testimony in 1995, 96 confirmed residents relied on that restriction, and the board acknowledged it, but failed to enforce it. New Jersey law holds that such conditions run with the land and remain enforceable regardless of neglect. Current truck traffic on Harrison therefore violates both the original 1963 condition and the negative criteria of variance law, and the township has a duty to restore compliance. Exhibit B, expansion and enforcement of 1963 truck restrictions. Expansion reopens site plan review. Any expansion of this facility requires renewed site plan review under New Jersey law. Prior conditions of approval remain enforceable at each review stage, like we're at now. The 1963 minutes conditions approve on that construction of the L-shaped truck roadway and explicitly bar truck ingress and egress from Harrison Street and Sindel Avenue. That restriction still runs with the land and must be enforced as part of this expansion review. Expansion increases truck traffic. We kind of covered that one. I can't even imagine what would happen to my daughter. She's 2. I try to hold her head in the street. I can't even imagine one of my neighbor's kids playing basketball outside on Harrison Street and coming in contact with someone who was just on their way into the building through a residential area that's barely big enough for 2 cars to pass each other. Having a 50-foot tractor trailer driving past as they're trying to shoot hoops. Variance law, negative criteria. In Medici versus BPR Company, 1987, the New Jersey Supreme Court held that no variance may be granted if it causes substantial detriment to the public good. Truck access from Harrison Street is that very definition of the detriment. Safety hazards, noise pollution, air pollution, traffic intrusions into our residential neighborhood. I would ask that you carefully consider this matter and the full impact that it has, not just for Zen Real Estate, but the 100 or so residents that live anywhere near the building or in the neighborhoods. I thank you very much for your time. You're here.
Thank you for your testimony. Any other members of the public want to come up and address the board? No one coming forward. May I have a motion to close the meeting of the public?
Second.
All those in favor of closing the meeting to the public?
Aye.
Meeting is closed to the public.
If I may just a short summary, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
So as I said before, none of us in this room put the building there, and I completely empathize with the neighbors with respect to having a building there. But if there's not access on Sindel and there's not access on Harrison, there's no access to the building. The facts remain, the building was built with a proper site plan by this township in 1965. It got their site plan approval. The parking and the access was from Harrison. An easement was granted from the neighbor to permit a access, whether we call it occasional, certainly non-exclusive access from Van Ness and Sindel Avenue through here. Understanding that the address, the access is 75 Harrison. So over the years, they've come before this board, and there's been an acknowledgement, at least as recently as 2005, when the board granted the 16,000 square foot addition. Parking was the same, the site was the same, the access was the same, the easement was the same. We've looked at the title search to see if there had been anything new. We attempted to make some enhancements to the easement, maybe give some additional rights. We're going to enforce our rights in the easement, but I do believe that looking at the town in total, and we try to balance the equities, it's fair that there be a sharing from both sides, to not close off one or the other. And I think this board did a tremendous job of getting some real concessions from the applicant, most particularly the 9 to 6. I believe currently trucks are, coming in there, and now that at various hours throughout the day and night, and now that they know that there's a restriction and it will be able to be enforced by way of a resolution, that's something that has meat, and that's something that you can show the neighbors to say, as a result of this applicant coming before the board, in what I respectfully disagree with Mr. Barry, that we're not really asking for a variance. This is a pre-existing non-conformity. It's been there all these years. It was acknowledged and ratified back in 2005 when the addition was approved. And here we are in 2025. We're making substantial improvements, fencing, now curbing, paving, new garbage dumpster, better circulation, better signage, better lighting. Now maybe 3 or 4 trees that are going to help to absorb some water and create a little bit of a buffer. So I think you're seeing that the applicant, who's the owner of the site, wants to create a nice experience for his tenant, but also for the residents, and have a buffer in that area. And also we have a building there that's an industrial building. I have a building that's physically attractive and works for going into the future. So with respect to, and I'll just, speak a little bit, in the event that we do view this to be a variance, I guess we could say that it's, there is some level of hardship here because none of us in this room put that building there in 1965. So this building was put there, the residents were there before then, so we can't say that the residents came up afterwards. But I think generally be looking at a C2, Mr. Bari, that the benefits of all of the improvements that we've been able to get that are not in place right now far outweigh any detriments, and that we have lots of benefits, purpose A, purpose M, with respect to, promoting, a better service of the property and better aesthetics of this property as compared to what the current conditions are. And for those reasons, and based upon the testimony given this evening, hope the board sees fit to approve our site plan application. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barry, any comments on the variance which was already approved in 2005?
Yeah, so the extent that it was previously approved, there's a modification of the area in question. On the balance, they are reducing the amount of pavement, which would be intrusion into that buffer area. So the proposal here to add the grassed areas that are currently impervious surface, the proposal to add the curbing that'll prevent those grass areas from being used, hopefully, for any kind of storage or parking. And then the addition of the trees that were discussed, all of those factors will enhance that buffer area. So the extent that it remains non-conforming, all of the proposals this evening are improving the condition that was previously granted.
Thank you. Mr. Kovalars, any comment?
Nothing further.
Mr. Brigliadoro, can you summarize what the responsibility of the board is here?
Chairman, just before I do that, I just have a couple questions. So that, John, I'm sorry, I know you were talking about potential area where trucks could queue. Can you just point that out?
Sure. We'll identify it. It is block 280, block 804 to the common ownership with Send Real Estate. Currently, we've got a parking lot, and so the area for queuing would be in that lot.
You would accept that as a conditional approval?
Yes.
The proposed exhibit, Mr. Chiolo, intends to submit to the board. I provided it to you as a courtesy to take a look at. Do you have any objection if we admit that? It's just case law.
No, you mean his exhibit that he sent in? I mean, I glanced at it. I don't, from what I saw, I don't necessarily agree with the dates. Don't make sense, but it's part of the record that he submitted, so I have no objection to being part of it. We don't agree with it, but
No, understood.
no objection.
It's not really factual. It's legal.
Yeah, I have an objection to the dates are wrong. I don't believe the cases support what he's saying. And I don't believe there was ever a scenario whereby this board, even back in 1963, said you can't access the site from Sindel or Harrison. I have no idea how you would be able to do that. That's Bob.
the 2005 that you talked about.
Yeah. Mr. Briglio, we have close to the public.
Yes. So just one other question, so. There's one variance, as I understand it now, it's for pre-existing non.
Pre-existing nonconformity from section 28099 to allow a buffer strip of less than 40 feet from, and I agree with Mr. Barry, it's residentially zoned, not residentially used property. I think it's worth noting that it's not residentially used property, but that is correct.
So with that, Mr. Chairman, the applicant seeks preliminary and final site plan approval. There's one variance, which is really pre-existing non-conforming, and that's for the buffer area less than 40 feet. If the board were to consider the approval, I would recommend that the board require certain conditions. One would be that the applicant would comply with all terms and conditions as set forth in Mr. Valley's review report of wood planner. Similarly, that the applicant would comply with all terms and conditions set forth in the board engineer's report, Mr. Pablar's position report.
That's acceptable.
Okay, this thought about the trucks being able to get basically that's on block. In block two, that block can go for.
Correct.
Hours of operation will be limited to 9 to 6 Monday through Fridays. Understand occasionally they may be open on Saturdays, that understand.
Correct.
That's the moment. Lighting would be on a timer, but it would go up no later than 10 p.m. And the new green area adjacent to the lots 228 lot 19 and lot 283 lot 7. And read that correctly. The applicant's gonna tell the new green area that it's gonna plant trees, no parking.
Yes, and we will consult with the Little Falls Shade Commission.
Right, consult Little Falls Shade Tree Commission on trees. What happens, Chairman?
Good, thank you. Thank you
Mr. Ray-
very much.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask
Yes.
a question? Mr. Veteran, for clarity. How many square feet was the previously approved addition to this building?
I have that here, Mr. Mayor. It was 16,000 square feet. The 2005 edition?
Right, from
Yeah,
20.
16,000.
How many square feet is?
The addition. Higher back of the higher addition back of the site, and then up in the area around. So they have cheese.
And this is about the same size.
Yes, yeah, although this is 17,000 and we're taking away 2,000, so it's about 15,000. It's a net, I think, Mr. Walker said about 5 square feet less than we presenting. Smaller than, yeah, smaller than the addition from 2000.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Mr. Bigliador, can you explain non-conforming variance?
I think, you're referring to, so a variance is a condition that doesn't comply with our ordinance requirement. That's a variance. If you comply with the ordinance, that means you don't need a variance. If you fail to meet the conditions of the ordinance, you need a variance. What we talked about here was pre-existing non-conformity. So that is something that has existed for a long time. And generally, it exists prior to the ordinance coming into effect.
So would this board be voting on a variance this evening or not?
You know, I think just in an abundance of conservatism that we probably should. It's the parking has been there for, to my knowledge, it's been there since the beginning of the site plan. And I think it was ratified because it was certainly there in 2005 when that site plan was approved. But I think it would be good practice for, once and for all to grant that, to grant the variance of that section 28099 to acknowledge that we have that strip, it's less than 40 feet. And once and for all, show it up in a, resolution. resolution.
'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution. 'Cause resolution.
I had a quick question. What is the penalty if trucks are idling on Harrison, let's say at 2 AM? Why, is there something that Zen Real Estate will be responsible for, or is that something because they're not
Yeah, so
some
that's a
trucks
good,
come during
that's a good
great hours?
question. We're asked this question a lot, like you put conditions on an operation and then where the, this is not it's not a policing matter. So what essentially it could mean is the voiding of their certificate of occupancy. That's essentially what it means, that you violated this, it would, go before, the municipal judge. And the municipal judge, would be able to establish a pattern that you're in violation of your use. I don't think maybe not the applicant or the members of the public realize what the board's done here, which I think, for the neighborhood is wonderful, but the building owner, it may not be. Like, limiting these hours to 9 to 6, they don't have that restriction now. So it's an awfully big trade-off to get 15,000 square feet, because if they violate that, they could lose their certificate of occupancy.
Go ahead, Dr. Reddy.
How many square feet of expansion? How much you want?
So the expansion is 17,000, but in addition, they're also removing to make better access. They're actually taking a 2,000 square feet of building out. So their net is going to be a net of 15,000 additional space.
So they really.
The total, the total 52, that's perfect, 38,000, it is currently, yeah, at the end of the addition, it will be 52,164. Yes, it's currently 38,007. 38,007. Correct.
What hasn't been mentioned here tonight is that they were denied a bid to raise the height beyond what's acceptable. So I guess, I don't know what they're raising it to, but was the 30 feet was acceptable?
Yeah, so the existing building will stay at 22. The portion of the addition will go up to 30, which is compliant in the I zone.
Very good. Thank you. Any other questions, the board member?
Yeah.
I have, go ahead.
Mark?
I asked.
So I'm a little curious, since that was admitted, those exhibits, we have not seen it. How do we make a vote tonight when I don't have an opportunity to do this?
Supervisor Durham? They've been introduced as testimony tonight. It's not really the changes that
So
are
that
proposed.
the update was submitted. That was.
No, I'm talking about the member of the public who submitted certain
Oh,
things that were
okay.
passed, and Mr. Vedder said it was okay.
So you're referring to the petition?
Not
No.
the petition, but there was several documents that were handed over.
This is not part of the record. That's not. I showed you what you.
Yes.
You need to give that back.
Yes, yeah, okay. So these are
That's not part of.
these are not part of the
Hearing is closed, yeah.
Okay, so the ones that were.
Right, he's gonna, John,
Okay,
yes.
John. It's a series of legal cases, that's what it is.
and it's just the legal cases, it's no description of what was it? What was referring to, or?
Yeah, the case,
Okay,
it's Mr. Chiola's, he's representing, he's telling us what he thinks those cases say.
understood.
What it is.
Chairman, I would like us to spend a little time on that before we make a vote. Like, I would want to maybe hold off on this vote until that part, because I mean, if the access part is all wacky, that's gonna really throw this whole thing.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, so from what I was hearing, and I can't rationalize that, there's no scenario where there's a third entrance. It's a through the field, it's a through the back end, there's no third entrance. So it's Harrison Street is this different. That was blessed on this site plan got approved. There's an easement that goes out to Cinnamon. Like, I don't think, and I understand, look, we want to give deference to the neighbors to figure this out, but we also have an applicant that's been here since June. And is trying to work with the board and members of the public. There's no third access, like you would have to get an easement agreement through Handle property or an easement agreement through the DPW. Or this is all residential zone, like this address is 75 Harrison. It's put there, none of us in this room did it, but it's there and it exists, and you're trying to make the best of the situation.
It's a permitted use. This use is permitted in this zone. It's not as though years later, the town said, we're changing use, don't want industrial there. Sometimes that happens, like at the mill, we want to encourage residential development there. That never happened. This is still in I zone. It's permitted use. It's everything that they're planning is permitted. The only thing we're talking about is, I was never so lucky in baseball that hit the ball that far. But I remember the parking was there. And this parking has been there for decades. So that's the only thing we're asking for. So I don't think there's going to be anything new that's going to be revealed by looking at it. These are the facts. This address 75 Harrison. There's an opportunity by way of the access even that we showed here, and there's no other.
Jim, I think it makes sense if the public brought a concern that has legal standing and this board has, not necessarily us, but this board has made a decision in the past to avoid access to the site, whether it be through one exit or egress or two. We should investigate that prior to.
I think it's fact. I don't know if it requires investigation. I think things change. Mr. Brigliadoro, you have any comments?
Well, one of the things I want to say is, this is a permitted use in the industrial zone. Under the municipal land use law, in the cases, specifically, the Lionel's case and Dunkin' Donuts case, the board has no authority to deny a permitted use for traffic conditions. Because the governing body has determined that this use is appropriate in that zone.
Are we required to provide a resolution?
We don't understand the question.
What's that?
What do you mean a resolution?
A resolution, Mr. Veteran had said that he'd like to, for once and for all, create a resolution that allows the access and the.
No, it wasn't the
Not the
access.
access, I'm sorry, the 11 feet.
Um,
That allows the. 11.
I believe it runs with the land. So what the commissioner is saying is, there's the question of this 40-foot buffer.
And if there were, then probably, if there were 40-foot buffer, you try, it would be frustration for the entire site. And I believe if you look at this, look at old, aerial footage, and you look at, the 2005 resolution, and going back to the site plan, this is the existing condition, and in my opinion, it runs with the land. I'm fine leaving it as a resolution, but that, I think maybe it should be in there, but I believe it runs with the land, I don't. The board doesn't want to put it in the resolution, I can't put it in the resolution. It's really, we're confirming that this situation exists, pave it, curving up, and this is where the parking thing, where it will continue to be, but if we look and try to find a resolution from however many years ago, the 60s, sure, what else is there would be fine. We know, this recruiter asked me to send in the documents that are available public record. And those are the deed and easements for this property and easements for the property. And this allows better access to their site, it's not Harrison, and it allows non-exclusive use, but then that's a single highway companies. That's also shared by the way. So it's a very limited use access on access easement. And we address is 75 Harrison. I can speak with I can speak with the client and see if the board wants to.
For what?
Wait another 30 days.
No.
I don't think we're gonna learn it. I don't think we're gonna
I don't see anything new coming out of any investigation. What's there in fact is there in fact. The resident that served the member of the public this doesn't address gave examples of case law. Okay, that does not apply to our board and our decision. Simply is case law. In my opinion, and Mr. Brigliadoro, our counselor, our attorney has stated, we cannot deny a pretty much variance-free application for ingress and egress. We simply can't. If we do, the consequences could be a legal suit, major cost to the township, and that should also be considered. We have brought forth measures tonight, conditions of approval which will mitigate the impact. We've removed diesel fumes, 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever. I have experienced that in another neighborhood. I know exactly what you're talking about. We have cut the hours of deliveries from 9 to 6. We have provided a queuing area. I don't really know. I'm willing to listen to the other things we can do to mitigate the impact on the resident. Any comment? May I have a motion?
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the application with the stipulations and the conditions that were discussed and approved at this meeting.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Please poll the board.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Karash,
Yes.
Mr. Luke Daniano,
Yes.
Mr. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Poshis,
Yes.
Mayor Damiano,
Yes.
Councilman Scoba,
Yes.
Dr. Abdi, Mr. Kilpatrick.
Chairman votes yes, the application is approved. Thank you very much, everyone. Difficult application.
Thank you. Yeah,
Appreciate your contribution.
thank you for your consideration. Thank you.
Going to declare a 5-minute conference break.
Thank you, Joe.
Next application is Bridgewood Ridge Land Homes LLC.
It's been a while. Good evening. Members of the board, John Vettery entering my appearance on behalf of Ridgeland Homes as the builder in Asanor for Lauren Vettery and the wife Mandy Messenger. So it's getting late. I had lots of stuff prepared to talk about Charles Crane and the family buying their first lot. I'm gonna scrap everything and we're just gonna get down to business. All in favor? Motion. That was very quick. So, but I can't make my own motion. So, so what do we have tonight? Tonight, we have what really is the fulfillment of Charles Crane's dream. He created these lots in 1887, and this is 4 lots. So we have 2 lots on Stevens, 130 Stevens Avenue, 2 lots on Ridge, lots 8 and 9. These lots have existed, like I said, for more than, almost 140 years. 1918, a home's built, 130 Stevens Avenue, and it was a through lot. Every single house on Stevens Avenue, they were all through lots. So a through lot is where you have frontage on 2 streets. So it's usually parallel. So you have frontage on Stevens, frontage on Ridge. Likewise, many of the lots on the other side of the street were through lots from Lincoln going to Ridge, like where I grew up, right across the street at 110 Ridge. Over time, what happened? The first group, when you're just going over the tracks, there's a ranch house on Stevens Avenue across from the new building. That ranch house had a lovely family, and the 2 daughters subdivided those lots and built homes. Mrs. Green and Mrs. Turnova. Mrs. Green, almost 90, wanted to be here tonight. She did submit a letter of support, and she raised her family there, grandchildren, great grandchildren, and she's still there, which was remarkable. Years later, there were 2 other lots, 113 and 111 Ridge Avenue. They were taken from the same exact situation as this, lots on Stevens Avenue that went through to Ridge Avenue. 1964, they built 2 bi-levels. A third was planned on this lot. However, Mr. Philstrop, who owned all this property, didn't sell it. Now, fast forward into the 80s, the Eliash lot is, I believe, lot 6.01. That was subdivided and approved by this board. It's almost identical to this lot. It's about 50 by 80. And that was approved by this board sometime in the 1980s. I actually couldn't find the resolution, but it exists as a separate lot and was confirmed that the subdivision happened. And then after that, on the other side of the street where the Benvenutis lived, that was a through lot from the people who owned the Town Tavern. Owned a home, had a big backyard, that was subdivided, and the 3 lots going up Ridge Avenue. And they're all primarily 50-foot lots, with the exception of the 2 houses on the other side of the street, which are conforming lots. Those are the only ones. So what we're looking at here, yes, it's a small lot, but I think you have to acknowledge, and our planner that Mr. McDonough is not able to be here, and we have Marcella Trina, who's going to speak in the area of planning, but he kept calling this application, we had calls, oh, this is a missing tooth application. I said, what do you mean missing tooth? He said, well, you look at it, if someone has nice straight teeth and everything's in line, and then you see this oddity in this lot, because you never want to have a situation where you have a backyard and a front yard facing one another. So tonight in our application, we're going to talk about the lot, but we're also here seeking preliminary and final site plan approval in addition to the subdivision, because we're moving the line and we've proposed an elegant home for the site for Lauren and Mandy and their two beautiful sons. So I have 4 witnesses, and I promise to be quick, and one would just like to give a little statement, and that's my sister-in-law, Mandy Messenger. So I'd like to bring her up, and she can be sworn and give her statement. Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony about the sports to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please tell us your name, spell your last name.
Mandy Messenger, Messinger. So I'm reading something on behalf of my wife, Lauren. So these are her words. My wife is the youngest. Oh, well, some of it is not. My wife is the youngest of 4 in a big family and spent her entire childhood on Ridge Avenue. She learned to ride a bike, she learned to play basketball, and she made lifelong friendships there, including her best friend, who she met in 1984 at the bus stop on the corner of Walnut and Ridge. After many years of traveling and living in Manhattan, she moved back to Little Falls when her mother got sick and she fell in love with me, with the town all over again. She met me, and now we have 2 beautiful boys who are at home right now, not sleeping, should be asleep. And Little Falls and its people have become central to our daily life. From morning park visits to library playdates to town events, and our son being on a first name basis with most of the local restaurants at this point. We have our whole family within a 1-mile radius. The opportunity for my wife to raise her kids on the very street that raised her seems like a perfect narrative symmetry. And then I'll just add my personal 2 cents, which is I moved here in 2018 after Lauren and I met. I was living in LA. Before that, I lived in Manhattan. Never expected to move to a small suburbs like Little Falls, but love does wondrous things for you. Lauren and I were married in Tank Park. That was our first wedding, and Little Falls has become a really big part of my life. I appreciate the camaraderie and the small town aspect. I mean, we walk our son. I walk my son almost every single day, and I know so many of their neighbors. So the opportunity to move into this house in this town, just a couple blocks from where we live, is a dream. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our first expert witness will be Dan DiAgostino, who will testify in the area of architecture. To know him is to love him. Dan? Oh, thank you for dressing for the occasion.
Swear from the testimony that you have for the sports to be the truth, the whole truth.
I do.
Obviously, you know what you read. Tell us your name.
Sure, it's Daniel D'Agostino, D''A, Gostino. It's gonna take me a moment to recover from that job. I am a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey and have appeared before this board in the past.
Accepted.
Thank you.
Right, Dan, your show.
All right.
Tell us about this house.
So this is a fun one, because we're getting an opportunity to decide on for friends that families, and of course we're.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So I will start with the site plan briefly. I'll work through the plans. I'll talk about the elevations and then end on the rendering, which was on a couple times here. So for the entirety of my presentation, Ridge Ave will be at the bottom of the presentation, and that'll be what we refer to as the front of the house. Obviously, we're subdividing the larger lot. First step that we did was we measured and surveyed the property to the right and to the left so that we were able to address the street line and not stick out one way, stick out too far from the other, set too far back from the adjacent neighbor, So you'll see that we place the home within what would be considered a diagonal from the point of the first adjacent neighbor that's closer to Ridge. Along this line, the actual footprint of the house even follows that angle towards the neighbor to the left. When we get to the floor plan, the first plan I'll present, basement. Not have many walls. It's going to essentially be a fitness and gym area. It'll have an open playroom in the rear with a bathroom accessible from there, also access to the utilities. When you first enter the home off of Ridge, you're going to enter into a foyer and you're going to be greeted by the stair that runs up to the second level. To your immediate left will be an open living room. That living room will also flow into a family room, dining room, an open floor plan kitchen at the rear. There'll be a single car garage and a powder room in the center of the staircase. I know that sounds weird, but the way that it works is that the stair will actually flow up and around that center room. There'll be what we call a nano wall. That's a wall that actually opens to the covered deck. There's a portion of it which will have an open pergola and then a balcony above, which I'll show, and then an uncovered deck, which is just 3 steps above grade. Second floor plan, when you come to the top of the stair, this is a center hall, similar to what you would see in a standard center hall colonial. To the left and rear of the house is the master suite. So we'll have a door into the primary that will flow around past a primary closet to a primary bathroom. The bathroom will have a double vanity, a tub, a shower, and a water closet. Primary balcony off of the bedroom. There'll be 2 bedrooms at the front of the house. So when you come up the stair, one to your left, one to your right. The center of the plan is a hall bath. And then in the middle of the plan will be a small laundry. There will be an attic space above, which that stair will extend up toward. We're actually playing with the roof height so that this is still considered a 2.5-story structure by code. You'll come up to the top of the stair. There'll be a study in the center and then sloped, finished, but really storage elements of the attic space. When we get to the elevations, which is my next sheet, I believe this is an exhibit because I don't believe we submitted this until we put in a digital.
Today, yeah, exhibit A1.
This was sent at 2 p.m. Anybody gotten a chance to see this?
Yes, that's why I couldn't get dressed. I had to send the drawing.
Read it over.
Elevations were submitted with the renderings were submitted, but Mr. Kovalar's letterhead asked for full elevations, and we wanted to submit them before meeting tonight. So yeah, just describe what this is.
Certainly. So these are the 4 elevations. It's labeled 1 through 4. 1 is the elevation front, 3 is elevation rear, 2 is elevation right, 4 is elevation left. The reason we never did these, frankly, is because we comply with height. We know that we're complying with height. And I guess I'll start there. We have a measured height of the approximate finished grade to the building height, which is the gable midpoint of 27 feet 6 inches, which is well within our requirements. Along the facade, which is still conceptual in nature, but this is the direction we're heading. You'll see a stone base runs across the entire facade. To the right is the garage door, which is 1 story, obviously, that garage section, but we're bringing in some detail by bumping out and cantilevering the bedroom on the right. We've got a craftsman style, but metal roof portico. We have a 2-story bay window, which bumps out and gives us a little bit more of that definition as the facade bumps back. These 2 windows are in that bathroom that I was referring to earlier. And again, as well as although we have an attic, you would not be able to tell that from the facade. And I'm going to end on the front rendering, which gives us a pretty good feel of the scale and size of the home. You'll see how we've turned the corner. We don't have any fake gables or any way of trying to make this massive. We've actually worked very hard to make this feel like a smaller home using a 12-foot rhythm across the facade.
Is the attic habitable?
It is habitable. So at the center of the attic will be full height. That center of the attic, I want to say it was 12 feet, but I'd rather look at the plan. Yeah, so 12'2", that width by roughly 17 and a half will be over 7 feet in ceiling height. The rest of the spaces will be sub 7 feet. It'll actually go down to 0. It won't even be habitable.
And one last question, how many square feet?
The whole house?
Yes. I'm assuming it doesn't include the basement.
It does,
We had it
well,
including the basement.
so I don't have the livable square footage on this sheet. We might have it in the engineering for the F. Do we have an FAR calculation?
Yeah, hold on, Dan.
So my site plan shows the building coverage. The building coverage,
I believe the first floor was 1,450 square feet, and then that was what
That
was
makes
used
sense
for
without-
coverage.
Around 3,000, just under?
Less, yeah.
Yes.
about that.
yes.
Yeah, there, if you looked at the calculation of the building coverage, it was 1,450 square feet. There, we do have a variance for that, which is really a function of the size of the lot, but some of that also was based upon the front porch. There's 85 square feet technically for that. It's not really space, but that's the way the code reads, and also the covered deck in the back. So it gave rise to a total square footage for the first floor of 1618.
Thank you. Anyone, any members of the board have any questions for the architect?
John, is that really need that?
Exhibit A2.
Yeah, yes. Okay. You want to bring up the rendering? Yeah, okay, yeah. Anything else you want to point out on the rendering? No.
I think that covers.
Okay. Yeah, no further questions of Mr. D'Agostino?
Thank you very much.
Mr.
Good
Chairman,
to see you, Dan.
Mr. Chairman, ask one quick question.
Sure.
Dan, before you go. Quick question. I had a point in my review and just wanted to ask your opinion. Seems as there, with the one car garage, and the basement being finished and occupiable, that there's limited storage for lawn equipment or other kinds of things like that. Do you have any opinion on the ability of the site or the house or the site in the future to accommodate that?
So, I mean, I think that they will be hiring a landscaper for that purpose. They have also described themselves as not car in the garage people. So there are 2 we're required to have 3, we have 3. There's ample space for 2 cars to park here. I think as the kids are younger, that's where all the bikes and the fun stuff will be stored. As the kids get older, they'll have to make room.
Okay. Yeah, the reason for the board, the reason I ask is we're looking at a building coverage variance. If they decide they need a shed in the future, they may be coming back. And if that's a consideration we can discuss this evening, it may save everybody time down the line, but we've heard Mr. D'Agostino's testimony. So thank you.
Yeah, no, just, I said, not looking for a shed, and you know, to the extent they would, a lawnmower would fit. It's an oversized one. It's not a 2-car garage, but it is an oversized.
Mr. Kovalars, you have any questions for the architect?
No, I'll take a look at the elevation plan and just to confirm what's been represented on the plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
You Dan.
I guess I should say Mr. D'Agostino, but
Mr. D'Agostino. Okay, our next witness is Dave Fantino is going to testify in the area of civil engineering. And just to offer a few comments, I don't know if any of the board members have driven by the site. I've lived across it most of my life, and it's essentially been the same, maybe slightly better. There were 2 very large sheds there. There's now only 1. It's really fallen into disrepair. The evergreen tree that was there fell over Ridge Avenue and was removed and caused the fence to be damaged. And it's currently a lot that's in quite a bit of disrepair. And we had the opportunity early on, we wanted to do this before the hearing, to actually go out there and take test pits. And we've spoken to Mr. Kovalars, and we have the neighbor here at 111 Ridge Avenue, and we spoke with the neighbor. We're going to talk about drainage. We want to make sure that there's no issues with drainage. So we had an opportunity to meet with the neighbor's friend, an engineer, out at the site. Currently, the neighbor's property, the gutters and leaders drain into this lot because this lot has basically been no man's land. And there's just the current owners put a fence up, and this lot has just been neglected for decades. So there was no one complained about the drainage going in there. Of course, we can't have drainage going there, and we offered at our expense to connect the neighbor's drainage properly underground, and I'd like Dave to speak about that, in addition to speaking about the proposed Coltech units and additional drainage that were proposed.
And Dana, swear from the testimony that you're about to give before this board's gonna be the truth, the whole truth.
I do.
Obviously, you know who you are, but please tell us, please put it on.
David Fantina, F as in Frank, Antina, business address 15 Sunset Drive, Burnsville, New Jersey. I'm a licensed professional engineer. My license is still in good standing.
Thank you, Dave.
License current?
Yes,
Accepted.
thank you very much. We did a drainage plan. This is probably another exhibit. I have 10 copies if the board would like these.
Are these new things we haven't seen before?
These are
Mr.
things.
Kobolars has, but they were not, they were done after the submission, so we should mark it as an exhibit.
Okay.
So that will be
Okay,
A3.
just to clarify, our engineers had access to this prior to today?
Yes.
Yes.
There was an earlier version of based on Mr. Kobolars' comments, it gave rise.
It was subsequent to my report when I.
Thank you.
So as Mr. Vettery said, we did go out in the field and did soil testing to make sure that the area was permeable. What we found is that the area is quite permeable, but we hit groundwater at about 6 feet, which means that any kind of a dry well we have is going to have to be fairly shallow. We want to have 2-foot separation from the bottom of the dry well to the groundwater. So we've come up with a system of Cultec units. Those are plastic storage units. We have 6 of them, which based on our discussion with Mr. Kobolars, is sufficient for 3 inches of storage over the rooftop area. All of the roof leaders will be drained into the Cultec units. There'll be an overflow out the top of these, which will come and drain into the curb on Ridge Avenue. We did originally think that we might want to run them down the grass area and run it into an existing inlet. Mr. Kobolars didn't like that idea for the very valid reason that we would be going in front of the neighbor at the corner of Crane. And if that neighbor ever wanted to plant a tree or put a mailbox in there and they hit the pipe and broke it, then you'd have a situation with whose pipe is that, who fixes it. So I think this is a much better solution that he's kind of directed us in that way. And as Mr. Vettery said, the neighbor who's here today, his roof leaders presently run in a pipe into this property. The property is low. So we spoke to him and to his engineer. We're going to be picking up his roof leaders, not only the ones in the front, but the ones in the rear, and running them out in a separate pipe, the 4-inch pipe out to Ridge Avenue. They would also come out and daylight in the street. We also indicated to him and to his engineer that we will not be raising the grade on this site such that we'll be letting any runoff get onto his property. Because right now we're lower than he is. So we're going to make sure that when we grade the site, we continue to drain out to the street and not to his property. I believe we also told them that we would slide the Cultec units a little bit to get them as far away from his property as possible.
Yeah, Dave, the neighbor's engineer also asked if the pipe could be increased from 4-inch to 6-inch.
Yeah,
Speak to that.
yeah, we had a discussion with him and he had said, he felt that 4-inch was appropriate if it was, could we maintain a 2% slope? And I told him if we could not maintain a 2% slope, we would increase the size to 6
I
inch.
don't know if a Belgian block can fit 6 inches. If that's,
The pipe might be.
you don't want it projecting over the curb.
Work better.
We would like to have a 4, but we told him we'd attempt that, so.
Mr. Maintainer, 4 is the municipal standard typically?
Yeah, 4 is generally the industry standard,
General.
yeah. Unless you have a huge rooftop area.
I mean,
which we
there
don't.
couldn't be that much flow that you would necessitate.
No, these are relatively small rooftops.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Any questions of the board? For the engineers?
Units, they're about 30.
Can you repeat the question that we didn't get to hear?
How deep are the units, the Cultec units? I believe these particular units they're 28.5 inches top to bottom. And then they have about 6 inches of stone above them and 6 inch stone below them.
You said groundwater was where?
6 feet.
And so what is the elevation of the basement floor, finished basement?
Good question. The basement floor is going to be below the bottom of these, but we have a note on the plans that we're going to put a synthetic pond liner on the house side so that we're trying to promote recharge, but obviously we don't want it to recharge into the basement.
On the exteriors.
Yeah, on the exterior of these Cultec,
Mhm.
this Cultec system, there'll be like a curtain drain, which will be impermeable to prevent water from getting into the house.
Thank you.
You have any other?
We do, actually,
I have a couple questions.
there were a couple of comments that Mr. Koblars had that we haven't addressed yet also.
As far as the grading plan goes, would like to see a grading plan provided.
It's only,
Proposed drainage. Is this, your set of plans going to be a supplement to the site plan that's shown on the architectural plans, or your plan is gonna be the site plan?
Which you prefer?
I think for everything on one set of plans, with the grading and.
Yeah.
that's fine. We'll do it that way. That's
We'll do
fine.
it that way.
And
Yep, that makes sense.
Plans.
That's fine.
would be
We'll
considered the-
integrate them for the construction set and make
Okay.
sure
Have all
that,
the details
right.
and everything.
that the details included on there as part of the construction. So,
If you provide this where the service connections locations are?
yes, yeah, there's service all available at Ridge Avenue, but we'll make sure that's noted.
Be shown on.
Yes, absolutely.
Provide all. of
Yeah.
it. Yep.
Since this is a subdivision on County Road, does this have to go before the county?
I did, every subdivision in the Passaic County has to go before the county, even if it's on a municipal road. So we submitted to the county. I believe it's being heard September.
Is soil erosion and sediment control plan certification from Hudson Sussex Passaic Soil Conservation District?
That wouldn't be applicable because
Yeah, I
the
think we're
whole,
under.
the whole lot is going to be less than 5,000 square feet.
But our engineer says it is.
But would it be?
They sometimes do.
Oh,
case
because
by
it's
case.
no, you're right, because it's a subdivision. We'll file it.
I trust my engineer.
I do.
And Passaic County is required approval.
Yes, that was filed.
That's pending.
That's pending. Yep, that'll be heard on the 11th.
There are also some improvements suggested on Stevens Avenue. Agreed to part of the plan.
So,
Go ahead, John. I want to hear this one.
Mr. Chairman loves to watch me squirm. So the suggestion is, well, let me start with the easier one. So Mr. Koblars and I spoke about there's currently two sheds. I don't know if it's shown on the site plan, but we submitted the survey and the subdivision plan that was prepared by Mr. I guess it shows as one. So I guess that was triggering another variance of having, or maybe Mr. Bari raising that there's a variance by having a shed within 3 feet of the property line. So while the current owner, Mr. McFarland, was not happy about moving it, he is willing to. He is not willing to do the sidewalks and the curbing, but I don't want that to be a stumbling block to this application. So we will agree to do that as well.
Ask a follow-up on the shed. So there's shown on the subdivision plan, a one-story masonry garage and a shed that's probably several inches offset from it in the back. Yeah. So you're saying the shed to the rear of the masonry garage is to be relocated?
Yes.
Okay, because there's okay, because there's a requirement of a setback between the buildings themselves as well. So
I think, I don't speak for him, but I think he would put it on the other side of the property.
okay, very good. Thank you.
Is that how we got from 6 to 8 variances?
Possibly. That's one.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I believe it was.
Thank you. All right, we have no other questions of your.
Okay, great. All right, our wrap up professional, you may remember her from Lynn Place and Capalvo, Marcella Trina, gave testimony on planning on that subdivision very nicely. We had a rowdy audience that night, you may recall. This is a nicer audience. So, okay, Marcella, I will let you talk about this missing tooth application. How you plan on filling in the tooth?
You swear from the testimony that you're about to give before this board is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Can you spell it, your name?
Sure. It's Marcella Traina, last name Traina. And I see up on the screen here that there's,
But you're a licensed planner in the state of New Jersey, licensed out here.
yes, it's correct. Thank you.
Accepted.
Thank you. I see on the board here, on the screen here, that there is an exhibit up already. Do I need to
Yes.
introduce that?
We do, yeah, so this is, will be A4, which is the mayor's exhibit.
Yes, and I have copies of it as well, if that's easier for the board.
Yeah, this is A4.
So this is a planning exhibit that was prepared by John McDonough and Associates. It includes an aerial satellite image of the subject site and surrounding properties. It also includes the parcel map of the subject site and surroundings, and a parcel map of the subject site and surroundings with lot dimensions. Okay, so again, to recap, the site is located at 130 Stevens Avenue and 109 Bridge Avenue and currently consists of 4 lots. The site is located within the R1B district where single-family residences are permitted. We're here this evening to seek approval to consolidate those 4 lots into 2 and construct a 2-story single-family home with a garage. Again, under existing conditions, the site consists of 4 lots. Lots 3 and 4 is currently developed with a single-family residence which fronts Stevens Avenue, and lots 8 and 9 is currently undeveloped with mature vegetation which fronts Ridge Avenue. Because the existing single-family residence currently spans across lots 3 and 4, it just makes sense to consolidate those 2 lots into 1. And on the other hand, we have 2 lots directly behind 3 and 4, which are undeveloped and consist of an area of 4,172 square feet. When you consolidate lots 3 and 4 and you move that lot line back, you're effectively correcting 2 irregular conditions. The first being a single family residence, which occupies 2 lots. And the second being the fact that we're moving the rear property line to line up with the rear property lines of those neighboring residences. Lots 8 and 9, as they currently exist, are too small to contain individual residences, and therefore we're proposing to consolidate them to contain 1 single-family residence to align with the residential pattern along Ridge Avenue. As a result, lot 3.01 will be 5,507 square feet, and lot 3.02 will be 4,172 square feet. This is not out of character with the pattern of the tax map, as many of the neighboring properties range from about 4,000 to 5,000 square feet, and the same goes for lot width and depth. We're seeking variances for deficient lot size and width, which is really a technicality because we're proposing to consolidate these lots to make them bigger. The depth is going to be consistent with other lots on the block. The height and setbacks are going to be consistent with other lots on the block. And really the only way to create a fully conforming lot here would be to consolidate all 4 of those lots, which would effectively create a through lot, which is generally out of character with this neighborhood. So if this was 1 large through lot, you could have a building footprint that's up to 2,700 square feet, whereas we're proposing to subdivide it into 2 lots with 2 homes with smaller footprints, which is more appropriate given the context of this neighborhood. That being said, the project still complies with the maximum impervious coverage for this zone. We're also seeking a variance for the minimum front yard setback where 25 feet is required and 17.5 feet is proposed for lot 3.02. Again, the setback will remain in similar consistency with the rest of the residences on the block, as most of those setbacks kind of vary in size. We're also seeking a variance for the minimum rear yard setback on proposed lot 3.02. As you can see on the parcel map, which is page number 2 of that exhibit, we're proposing to move the lot line further back to line up with the neighboring lots on the block. So this allows that existing single-family dwelling on the site to have a larger rear yard than what currently exists while correcting an inconsistency on the block. It's my opinion that consolidating these lots and constructing a new single-family home will not pose a substantial detriment to the public good. As I mentioned, as a result of the consolidation, we will effectively be correcting 4 irregular lots to create 2 single-family properties to align with the rest of the neighborhood. And by allowing a single-family home on lot 3.02, we will effectively fill in that missing tooth along Ridge Avenue. The project aligns with land use goal number 1 of the 2024 master plan, which is to maintain, preserve, and enhance the existing established residential character of Little Falls neighborhoods. And as far as the zoning ordinance, this is a permitted use. We comply with height, we comply with parking, we comply with side yard setbacks and impervious coverage. Project promotes MLUL Purpose I, which promotes a desirable visual environment through good civic design and arrangement. And it's my opinion that these variances can be granted under the C2 benefits versus detriments criteria, which means that the benefits of the overall project substantially outweigh any potential detriments.
I know.
Any members of the board have any questions for the planner? Mr. Barry, any questions for the planner?
No, I think the testimony was well given.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kovler.
No.
All right, may I have a motion to open up the meetings to the public?
So moved.
Second? Somebody second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is open up to the public. Anyone wishing to address the board, please approach the microphone.
Hello. You swear from the testimony that you got from for the board is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please tell us your name and spell it out so we can-
Abdullah Al-Bizri, last name Albizri. So I'm the neighbor of this property on, so this property is just to my left. And when I received the notification about this property, I had some concerns that the water naturally from my roof drains and from my backyard flows to this land. So I talked to my engineer to see, like, to make sure that I'm not affected negatively by the plant. And we had 3 concerns, and we talked with John about those 3 concerns. The first one, that there was no proposed grade, so we couldn't know if the backyard drain was gonna be impacted, gonna flood our backyard. But John assured us that it will not be elevated, so I want to make sure that it's not gonna be elevated. The second concern is that our roof drains also flow naturally to this land, this property. So John said he proposed that he's gonna connect it to a PVC pipe to the street, and we were talking about, my engineer said it should be pitched to 2 degrees or 6 inch. So I mean, John said they're gonna try to pitch it or see if the 6 inch can work. And John said that he's gonna do it on his expense. And the third concern was the detention basin was very close to my property. And they said that they're gonna move it a bit. So those were my 3 concerns I wanted to put on record to make sure that I'm not gonna be affected negatively from this plan.
Is your house on the corner or on the other side?
I live just
Oh, thank you. Okay. Anyone have any comments? All right, thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else want to speak to the board? We have a last minute.
Swear affirm the testimony about to be before this board is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Please spell to me, spell your license.
Stephen P. Martell,
Congratulations.
43 Brain Street. I just want to say, I've been in town 50 years, over 50 years. I've known John, his family, his grandfather. I worked for his grandfather. And the way this lot is kept, it's like, atrocious. It's overgrown grass, the limbs fall on your car. It's really not kept up right. So, I know the family, I know John's sister, and, they're very respectable people. And I think by putting this house up, and if you can conform to the water situation, because the storm drains are very undersized, they're only 16 inches there. If, that doesn't become a problem, I think it would enhance the neighborhood, and I think it's, for the benefit of the neighborhood. Good. That's all I can say.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
You swear affirm the testimony about to be before this board is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Spell to me, spell your license.
Ben Irizarry, last name Irizarry. I live, across the street from this on the corner of this property. So I agree with what was just said. I think this property has been sort of in neglect, and I think this is definitely a benefit to the neighborhood and the area. I do think that if more clarity can be provided on the water management. Living in the same area right next door to John, there is a high water table because, we get water in our basement and we had to install a sump pump for that. So I'm not sure if the water level is at 6 feet and these basins are 3 feet, how useful are they going to be during very heavy waterlogged times? So that's the only concern.
Thank you very much.
I think that's your person.
Ben.
Anyone else have any comments? No one coming forward? You're gonna drag her up here?
Hi.
No one coming forward. I'm gonna close the meeting to the
No
public.
avail.
I
Thanks.
have two questions. You know me, I have questions. Gonna have to bring in fill dirt in order to level this property.
Even in addition to digging out the basement gate? Yeah, yes.
Very good. And was any effort made on your part to purchase additional land from the landowners?
There was, yeah, we tried to ask initially if, we could push that fence line back, if we could buy some additional land. The perception from the current owner was that, that the existing fence that he has, that's the lot line, when in fact it isn't. And that's why we're here for a lot line adjustment. So there were efforts made and those efforts were not fruitful. I will note one thing that wasn't said in tonight at all. Is, there's, despite where the fence line is, there's still 52 feet between them. So it's a considerable amount of space. It's not as though this house is right up against the house. They have a couple of little dogs that go out there. And, so if we tried, get to see back a couple of feet, but, in the overview of looking at this, yes, the land is still there, still the same land, it's just a matter of here at instance, and I'm still small on the fact that the house is already quite a distance apart, a little bit more than they would by our code. Supposed to be 25 feet each, even though maybe 20 on one and 32.6 on the other.
Anyone have any questions? Engineering and planning is satisfied? The regular door open, you summarize?
Yes, Jim. So the applicant requires minor subdivision lot line adjustment approval. John, you don't need a site plan. Whereas this is just single family homes, it's a site plan. The variances have all been outlined in board planner, Mr. Brown's report. Lot area for both proposed lots, lot width for both proposed lots, lot depth for both proposed lots. Front yard setback for proposed lot 3.02. Rear yard setback for proposed lot 3.02. And the accessory building coverage for proposed lot 3.02. Those are variances, there's been expert testimony in support of that. It's just the minor subdivision with those variances.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the application. Sorry, did anyone else say?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the application as outlined in Planner Barry's report, pages 2 and 3, detailing the variances that are required, too numerous to repeat. Our attorney just cited them.
May I have a second?
Second.
Please poll the board.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Karash,
Yes.
Mr. Luke Damiano,
Yes.
Mr. Seaver,
Yes.
Mr. Poshis,
Yeah.
Mayor Damiano,
Yes.
Councilman Scoba,
Yes.
Dr. Abdi, Mr. Kilpatrick.
Chair votes yes, application is approved.
Thank you very
Welcome.
much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
There is no old business, there is no new business. May I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, yeah.